What do you really see when you hear the name Johnny Depp? For some, it's fame, red carpets, interviews, and the flashing lights of cameras. For others, it's gossip columns, trials, or endless debates online. But that's not the whole picture. That's not the man. Because behind every rumor, behind every headline, there is a human being who feels, who loves, who hurts, and who holds on. And that human being is Johnny. Johnny's story isn't just about movies or money or fame. It's about survival. It's about a man who, time and time again, has been knocked down by life, but has found a way to get back up. Not because it was easy, not because it was comfortable, but because there was something in him that refused to stay broken. That strength, that thunderous strength, isn't the kind you show off. It isn't the kind that comes with shouting or with trying to prove something to the world. It's the quiet kind. The strength that builds inside when you choose to keep standing, even when the ground beneath you shakes. And then there's his love. A kind of love that doesn't demand attention, that doesn't chase applause. It's not loud or showy. It's quiet. It's gentle. It's the kind that's often missed by those who only look at the surface. But if you pay attention, if you look closely, you see it everywhere. You hear it in the way he talks about his children. You see it in how he cherishes his small circle of friends. You notice it in the way he gives back, quietly, without announcing it to the world. His love doesn't shout. It whispers. But that whisper has the power to move mountains. And maybe that's what makes Johnny's journey so meaningful. He has lived through storms that most of us can only imagine. Imagine, for just a moment, waking up every day to find your name dragged across headlines. Imagine strangers deciding who you are without knowing you. Imagine the world watching your every move, waiting for you to stumble. That pressure, that constant noise, would break so many people. And yet, Johnny didn't let it define him. He didn't let the chaos consume him. He carried on. Sometimes quietly. Sometimes painfully. But always with resilience. That's thunderous strength, not because it roars, but because it refuses to disappear. But here's the thing, he doesn't pretend that he's unbreakable. He has never claimed to be perfect. He has admitted mistakes. He has shown vulnerability. He has talked about loneliness and struggle. And that's what makes his strength even more real. Because real strength isn't about pretending you're invincible. It's about being honest about your wounds and still choosing to stand tall anyway. That kind of honesty is rare. In a world where everyone is expected to present a polished, perfect version of themselves, Johnny has shown his scars. He has let the world see that he has stumbled, that he has been hurt, that he has known heartbreak. And yet, he continues to move forward. That's what makes him relatable. Because who among us hasn't felt broken? Who hasn't faced moments where life felt too heavy? And yet, somehow, we found the strength to keep going. Johnny's story is not one of perfection, it's one of persistence. It's about holding on to love when everything else feels unstable. It's about finding strength in silence when the world is screaming at you. It's about remembering who you are when everyone else is trying to tell your story for you. And when you really think about it, isn't that what makes us all human? We all have scars we hide. We all have stories people don't see. We all carry pain quietly, behind smiles or behind walls. And yet, in the middle of it all, we keep going. We keep standing. That's the quiet miracle of being alive. Johnny's journey reminds us of that. It shows us that strength doesn't have to be loud and love doesn't have to be big to matter. Look at how he talks about his children. For Johnny, being a father has always been one of his greatest joys. It's in his voice when he speaks of them. That quiet love shines there more than in anything else. His children became his anchor. When the storms raged, when the noise got too loud, they were his reason to hold on. They gave him purpose when it felt like the world was falling apart. That's the kind of love that doesn't just live in words, it lives in actions, in choices, in the way you carry yourself every day. And then there's the love he has for those who stood by him, friends who didn't leave when things got messy, people who saw the man behind the headlines. That quiet circle of loyalty mattered more than anything else. Because when the world screams against you, the whisper of one true friend can be enough to drown out the noise. Johnny knows what it's like to be abandoned, but he also knows what it's like to be held up by those who refuse to let go. That kind of loyalty, that kind of love, is rare. And he never takes it for granted. His fans too, people who saw past the rumors, past the chaos, and continued to believe in him, became part of that quiet love. He has often spoken about how much they mean to him. And you can feel that it isn't just words. It's gratitude. Because when the storms hit, sometimes it's the love of people you've never even met that helps you stand tall again. And what about strength? His strength has been tested in ways most of us will never know. To face betrayal. To face humiliation. To face doubt from people who once praised you. To live with the knowledge that no matter what you do, there will always be voices trying to tear you down. That's not easy. That kind of pressure can crush even the strongest soul. And yet, Johnny didn't let it destroy him. He stood in the middle of the storm, battered but unbroken. And that's the lesson. Strength isn't about avoiding pain, it's about enduring it. It's not about never falling, it's about getting back up. Johnny's thunderous strength isn't measured by victories or by proving people wrong. It's measured by his persistence, his refusal to give up, his choice to keep moving forward even when everything inside him must have screamed to stop. And if you really think about it, we all carry that kind of strength within us. Think of a time in your life when you wanted to give up but didn't. Maybe it was after heartbreak. Maybe it was when you lost something or someone you loved. Maybe it was when the world felt too heavy and you thought you couldn't handle it. But you did. You carried on. That's thunderous strength too. It may not have been loud. It may not have been celebrated. But it was powerful. Johnny's story reminds us that our quiet love and our hidden strength matter. Even when no one sees it. Even when no one applauds it. It still matters. Because it shapes who we are. It carries us through. And one day, it might be the very thing that inspires someone else to keep going. So when you think of Johnny Depp, don't just think of the headlines. Don't just think of the noise. Think of the man who has been hurt but has chosen to love anyway. Think of the man who has been broken but has chosen to stand anyway. Think of the quiet love that whispers in his life, and the thunderous strength that refuses to let him fall. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes his story unforgettable. Not the fame. Not the roles. Not the money. But the humanity. The love that doesn't need to be loud, and the strength that doesn't need to be seen to be felt. Johnny Depp is proof that you don't need to roar to be strong, and you don't need to shout to love deeply. Sometimes, the most powerful things in this world are the ones that whisper. His life is a tribute to that truth. His journey is a reminder to us all that no matter how loud the storm, love and strength can carry us through. And maybe that's why his story continues to touch so many people. Because when we look at him, we don't just see a star. We see a reflection of ourselves. We see our own struggles, our own scars, our own quiet loves, and our own hidden strength. And in that reflection, we find hope. Hope that no matter what happens, no matter how hard life gets, we too can survive. We too can endure. We too can rise again. So here's to Johnny Depp. To his quiet love. To his thunderous strength. To the man who reminds us that sometimes, the loudest voice in the room is the one that doesn't need to speak at all.